So hello and welcome back to a Tale of Genetic Code. This is a new section where I'll be trying to learn identification of different chromosomes on the standard G-banded metaphase. And these are some of the resources that I was able to put together. So this is just an audio recording of one of my seniors explaining this trick to me, the various identification features of different chromosomes. And what I also have are several metaphases that I'll be trying to identify all the chromosomes out of. And this PDF contains a list of descriptions of how we can identify each of these chromosomes. And I'll be linking this in the description of this video. And what is more important is that I'll actually show you how these chromosomes can be identified. So let's start with chromosome 1. So chromosome 1 is a metacentric chromosome with a dark uh, band on the Q arm and a very light, almost uh, disappearing, uh, a disappearingly light uh, part on the P arm of this chromosome. This central dark triangular band on the Q arm is actually the characteristic, along with this very light distal part of the P arm. That is chromosome 1 for you. And chromosome 2 actually does not have very good staining in the centromeric region, which gives it away. And chromosome 3 is actually the opposite. It has very dark staining on the centromere and very light staining on either arms, except for the distal portions. So what is uh, quite characteristic of the first three chromosomes is that they are extremely large. So you will not miss them on a karyotype. They will stand out from the rest of the chromosomes, and that is what will give them away. So the first three chromosomes together are also called group A chromosomes, and these will typically be one of the first chromosomes that we'll identify when we start our identification process once a metaphase spread is in front of us. Now coming to the B group of chromosomes. This is chromosome 4 and this is chromosome 5. So what gives chromosome 4 away is its submetacentric nature with a size that is almost comparable to the group A chromosomes. And it has these two dark bands, one in the P arm and one immediately distal to the centromere on the Q arm. And this is called as the shoulder band. It might have several other bands as well, but these two are the important ones for identification. And chromosome 5 is actually similarly sized, and this has a slightly distal dark band, which might be a single box-like band, or it might be a group of multiple dark bands, depending on the length of the chromosomes when they were stained, right? So these are the first five chromosomes. Now coming to chromosome 6. Chromosome 6 has the characteristic of a very, very large light band on the P arm, and actually there is also a short light band beyond the dark band on the P arm. So there's a dark band on P arm, and then there's a very large light band on the P arm, and then the Q arm with a variable number of lightly staining bands. And chromosome 7 has a distinction of having the darkest staining bands on its P arm, on its Q arm, right? And the dark band on its Q arm, on its P arm is actually almost at the very edge of the P arm. So that is what would give chromosome 7 away. Now coming to chromosome 8. Chromosome 8 has 1 to 2 darkly staining bands on its Q arm and 1 or 2 lightly staining bands on its PM. So chromosome 8 and 9 are often difficult to differentiate, but what I've noticed is that chromosome 9 tends to have two relatively distinct bands on the P arm, especially when the chromosomes are long, which may fuse to be a single band in the shorter chromosomes when they are stained, and that is what might create difficulty in differentiating these two. But as we'll see the actual metaphases, we'll try to further delineate how to differentiate them. Chromosome 10 has these three distinct bands on the Q arm, and that is the only chromosome of this size that will have these distinct three bands on the Q arm, and that gives it away. Chromosome 11 and 12 are again quite similar. The difference being that the box band on chromosome 11 is placed more distally as compared to chromosome 12. So on a metaphase spread, when you are seeing a chromosome with a distinct box band on the Q arm, you could call it either 11 or 12, but you should uh, wait till you identify all the four chromosomes of this nature, and then you can differentiate which ones would be 11s and which ones would be 12s based on distance from the centromere to the dark box band. Finally, coming to the smaller ones. So the D group contains three chromosomes of similar size, and these are acrocentric chromosomes. So far, we have seen metacentric and submetacentric chromosomes, but these are now acrocentric chromosomes, which means that the centromere is towards the very end of the uh, chromosome, and then you might be able to see some satellite portion of the DNA as of the chromosome as well. And you can identify chromosome 13 by means of multiple distal dark bands, whereas chromosome 14 has typically a proximal dark band and a distal dark band, and chromosome 15 has a predominant proximal dark band. So that makes this identification easy. Chromosome 18 is somewhat difficult to identify. I have several times labeled this wrongly, especially because it appears very different on different metaphases. But what is typically told about this is that it has the appearance of a frock or a skirt. I think a skirt is the more appropriate term here. So this looks like that garment with these frills. So you can see a centromere extending, and then these two bands, which look like frills on a skirt. So that is chromosome 16. And chromosome 17 again has a box band, but it's a smaller chromosome, which is submetacentric, and this would be the single defining band on this chromosome. Chromosome 18 has two bands, with the distal one being almost at the very edge of the Q arm, and that gives chromosome 18 away. So chromosome 18 is actually quite distinct when you look at it on the metaphase. This entire Q arm appears very box-like, and that gives chromosome 18 away very easily. Chromosome 19 and 20 are actually almost metacentric, with chromosome 19 having a single staining part that is at the centromere, and chromosome 20 having light bands on uh, the P and Q arms, one each. And coming finally to chromosome 21 and 22, chromosome 21, which is the smallest chromosome, actually has a triangular centromeric dark band, which is larger than the dark band that is seen on chromosome 22, which is smaller and more towards and at the centromere. And notice that these two are also acrocentric chromosomes, like group D chromosomes, and they may also have these satellites. So you should not get confused by looking at these satellites and think that these might be submetacentric or metacentric. The satellites are to be ignored, and they look like this otherwise on the metaphase spread. Now, chromosome X has these two defining dark bands. They're very straight and very prominent on the chromosome X, and these are actually called as bikini bands because if you just rotate this, it looks like a bikini probably. And finally, chromosome Y, which actually is similarly sized to chromosomes 21 and 22, and this has either a uniform staining or maybe a few uh, bands which don't look like either 21 or 22. That would be chromosome Y. And what we will do from now on is every time we are trying to solve a metaphase, we'll keep one of these hand-drawn uh, images for reference on the side, and we will then just a second. So I can open this. Yeah. So we have 20 metaphases that we can practice from, and I have taken these from this particular website, and I'll be uh, linking it in the description. So this website has all of these under these sections, and you can just open these, and this would be the image that you would want to uh, follow along with or try to solve, because there's the original image which has some artifacts which are removed on this one. This image might have overlaps on chromosomes as well, which are resolved in this image. So this image is what uh, would be easier to identify if you're just starting off. And this is the key of the proper karyotype. Uh, and of course, the diagnosis is already given when you are entering these links. So you know that all the karyotypes all the metaphase spreads and karyotypes that will be seen on this page are actually 46XX. That's a normal female karyotype. And then there are several abnormal ones also to choose from. So what I have done is I have randomly chosen 20 karyotypes and put them uh, on my uh, Excalibur pages. And what we'll do in this series is go through each of these one by one and try to identify all the chromosomes here. That I think is also, yeah. So what I'll also so the way I'm doing it, and if you want to follow along or practice at your convenience, what you can do is again download a bunch of these, and you can keep a key here. So the key is basically this image, which actually has the karyotype, so that we can cross-check whether our labeling of these chromosomes was correct or not. And one more thing that I have done to make this process easier is made a checklist of chromosomes. So this is just numbers laid down and the autosomes and the sex chromosomes. And what I would do then is copy all of these, go back, and suppose I'm trying to solve this one. I will just move this aside, paste all of these here, and then start labeling all the chromosomes as and when I identify them. For example, I think this is chromosome 14, and that is all. So uh, I'd be happy to uh, answer any doubts if uh, anybody can reach out to me in the comment section. Uh, Otherwise, I'm excited to finally be able to solve so many different karyotypes. So hope to see you in the next videos.